India has surpassed China as the most populous country in the world, and over 50% of the population are under the age of 30. The young and fastest growing economy in the world and the third biggest in Asia, the country has the largest consumer base for crude oil, steel, sugar, and gold. A recent data reveals that more than 415 million people have come out of poverty during the last 15 years. While all these data may look fascinating, the most disturbing fact is that the proportion of wealth distribution is not fair enough. More than 40% of the country's entire wealth is with 1% of the richest people in the country, and shockingly, the bottom 50% of people own just 3% of the country's entire wealth. Despite the pandemic, the wealth of billionaires has increased 10 times more in the last decade. Although poverty has reduced in India, it only appears to be a bubble that can burst any time if the wealth of the richest people erodes. This may sound absurd. I will tell you later why the downfall of the richest will trigger extreme poverty. For example, the growth of India's and Asia's richest man, Adani, has been meteoric. In 2014, he had a wealth of $2.8 billion, and his current net worth is massive $150 billion. From the position of 600 richest to the third richest person in the world is one hell of a move. This all happened in a decade. All credit goes to his close ties with ruling political parties, including Congress and BJP. Adani won a slew of government contracts in energy and infrastructure. His companies produce power, run ports and airports, and they have also entered the media business. Adani's companies are growing too big and they cannot be allowed to fail as it will collapse the country's economy at large. Even LIC has invested over $9.8 billion in his companies during the last 2 years. LIC stands a chance to gain the most if there is growth, but also stands to lose big if things go otherwise. The Hindenburg's accusations of stock manipulations and accounting fraud, though may not be true, it has certainly caused a ripple effect in the Indian economy and the stock market. The public company's investment in private entities is absolutely a cause for worry as it can impact the common man with the price rise in basic commodities. Indian banks are widely exposed to Adani's group and many other Indian billionaires. If there is a series of defaults, it will wreak havoc in the seemingly robust Indian economy, hurting the common taxpayer even more. The wealth of Indian billionaires have so much embedded in the country's infrastructure, and their collapse will hit India harder. Also, when it comes to paying taxes, the common people bear the brunt, while the billionaires cleverly evade. And here is how they avoid paying taxes. Most of the wealth is stashed in foreign countries where they enjoy zero taxation. Several rich Indians, including Mukesh Ambani, have set up their family offices in Singapore and Dubai to enjoy lower capital gain taxes. In comparison with India's 30% corporate taxes, Singapore only levies 17% tax, which offers a great saving. Recently, over 8,000 Indian millionaires have moved their bases to foreign countries. Imagine how much India will lose on taxes. Then who pay the taxes? Simple, you and I. I bet most average tax-paying Indians, including me, are aware and use only 80C section, where you get tax deduction for up to 150,000 Indian rupees. Most billionaires run charitable organizations and get massive tax exemptions. Even many wealthy spiritual gurus don't pay any tax by turning their revenues into donations and gifts. The companies of rich Indians borrow heavily from Indian banks to run their businesses, and borrowed money is not considered an income and henceforth not taxable. Billionaires around the world have doubled the income during the pandemic. It has unleashed an economic disaster that may crush the poor if there are no political actions taken. But if the government continues to favor the rich with their policies and laws, there will possibly an uprising.